completely illegal.
Where did you get the candy? Did you steal it from a baby?
No, and then my dad pulls out 1.5 pounds of imitation crab.
Nice. Imitation. Is it like
real story?
Movie grade?
Real story.
Is it movie grade crab?
It might as well have been. That's a true story. I pull out like the malt balls, and he's like, "Oh, you want some of this?" And I was like, "What the hell is that?" And he's like, "Imitation crab. You don't like imitation crab?" And I'm like, "Who sneaks imitation crab into a movie theater?"
I thought you said imitation crack.
I thought you said crack, not crab.
I thought you said crack, and I was like, "Wait, was your dad Charlie Sheen? Like what?"
Jesus,
he might as well be. To say the truth,
but so imitation crab.
Yeah, right. Into a movie theater.
Yeah, why not just bring an actual crab? Like bring the actual whole crab.
We were in Bakersfield, California, so it probably like more aligns correctly because that place is crazy. But
imitation crack.
Wait, what was the movie? I need to know what the movie was. Relevant.
I know the exact theater and I know who was with me, but I do not remember the movie. That moment sucked my memory.
Something then fair enough, you know.
It was my dad was there, so it had to be an action. It was
he wanted to smell like the sea.
I really want to say it was like Inglourious Bastards or something like that.
Oh.
But I'm not
Jaws
sure.
would have been another good one.
Inglourious Bastards deserves imitation crab.
No, I think it deserves real crab.
Real crab, only the best crab.
And actually, honestly, if you want to fit the motif, just eat it and boil it in the movie theater, and then just start cracking it open.
An imitation crab boil.
I had a conduction stove in there. I just plugged into the wall in the movie theater, and then just like they didn't care.
They're like, "Excuse me, can I use this for a hot plate?" They're like, "What?" Talk about heated seats. Talk about heated seats.
Yes, this is live. We're doing this live.
What?
We're doing it live.
I wrote this joke down 3 days ago. It's a good one.
If this was pre-recorded, it would be so embarrassing. Whoever wrote it, I would feel so bad for them.
These letters suck.
Yeah, no, we've definitely gone through the editors. Like the editors have had time to like process this, and yeah, no.
Yeah, who are the
if
editors?
that was the case, the editors need to
I'm the editors.
Yeah, they edited out everything illegal Noah talked about.
Yeah. We don't talk about the things Noah talks about.
It would be funny if Ryan had like a censor button and could just like
he could. He definitely could.
Button. Just go beep. Yeah.
I don't have a button. I just have the soundboard.
Well, we need to get you a button. We'll work on that.
Like a big red one that you can like put on like your camera and you just whack.
Yes, exactly. No, that doesn't. That just encourages us. That just encourages us.
John alert
more.
For a quick second there, I thought it was like the John Cena intro, and I'm like, oh no.
All right, we should start this. Are you ready, Ralph?
You're
the host.
John not showing up. All right, whatever.
Maybe he's going to be here late. I don't know. He's not here now.
He's going to come in like Superman.
We got to start.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, rolling broken finger.
Again. Welcome to Black Hills Information Security, talking about the news. I'm your host today, Ralph May. John is out saving the world. We have a huge Hollywood Square cast today. It's so many people. I know, right? I'm gonna have to hold on. Let me just get my banjo out so we can start playing out the names here. But no, seriously, we got Ryan who makes it sound great. We got Mike back for another ride. We got Jesus Christ, Brownland.
He's the new guy.
Oh yeah, the new guy. Well, hey, new guy. Who are you?
So I'm Hayden. I work in the SOC now. I started last Monday. Excited to be here.
Oh, well, we're excited for you to be here too, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
This is how we meet each other on BHIS during live shows.
During
During
live
the
streams.
news.
Never seen this guy
Because
before.
it's news to us.
Yeah.
that
One I
there's
was
new
really
guys.
being at. No one
I
told me I
thought
had
we're
to
just-
New
we're not going to
employees.
bring him up and just be like, well, I guess you got the link somehow, so we're just letting it ride.
Yeah, if you didn't work at
We didn't tell you
BHIS
this is
before,
not actually the news. It's just an elaborate scheme so we can haze you live. So.
Yes.
If I got in here without being hired, y'all have to hire me as a tester then.
Oh,
true.
All right.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you get on the show without actually working here, then you get hired here.
Yeah, this is
The
actually the
weird
new
chicken and
interview
egg thing.
process. You got to come on the news, and if you make it through, we'll consider.
That's a really bad idea. There's going to be a bunch of people getting on the news right now, and we're all.
Wait,
Not official BHIS policy. I'm just going to mark that right now for the record.
Oh gosh. So we also got Noah back again for some more pain and suffering and hanging out, and then
Lord
I'm definitely-
Monopixel to you.
and we monopixel to you and everyone else on the show. We also have Corey, which I don't know how he got the link. Can we please change the link? Is that possible?
It changes every week. I don't know how he finds it.
He keeps finding it. So, we also have Wade waiting through the logs over there, trying to keep it cool, right? So, and
High five.
yeah,
I
high
can't
five.
do it. I don't know where the left side of the camera is.
And Bronwyn's
I'm holding
on here
Hayden
as
up.
well. Hi, Hollywood Square style. So, anyways, what's happening? What's going on?
We're back from Hacker Summer Camp. Everyone got COVID except for you, Ralph. Wait, no, it's the other way around. You got
Yes,
COVID.
I literally was at Hacker Summer Camp getting COVID. Everyone got COVID. That's the new thing. Instead of DEF CON got canceled, we got COVID. No,
So
I
you
was
didn't-
I-
is there a badge?
2022.
Is there a
Yeah,
badge
the
for
COVID
that, for
badge.
getting COVID?
Yeah. No.
The COVID.
I remember going to DEF CON before COVID, and I came back with a case of
The before you.
Confred so bad, laid me out for a week. A one and only time I've ever been to DEF CON. And it was awful. Fever, chill.
Yeah, there's
like,
special
didn't know if I-
hangovers.
Yeah, I was gonna say hangovers are the worst. Walking to
Oh.
that those suites in like 103-degree weather, just completely drenched in sweat, hungover.
Yeah.
Nothing
Never a fun
says-
time.
Nothing says beautiful like a hotel breakfast on a hangover.
Oh,
The
delicious.
the Hooters hotel was the worst.
So
Hooters hotel. Oh God, yeah, no.
what a transition.
So what happened? Is there any news? Did anything
So, all right.
I
happen?
can make a
Any?
comment.
Did anything actually happen at DEF CON and Blackhat? There was,
Let's
did
read the
any-
recap.
The recap.
There is a recap. Yeah, there's a recap article. Let's go
Yeah,
to the recap.
They hacked
So that-
my new ISP.
that was just for Blackhat though.
That did happen. There
Well,
was some
that doesn't
Starlink
count.
things.
They don't count at Black. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think Black Hat counts.
I didn't go to Blackhat though.
Is it not the same thing?
No,
At
it's
DEF
two
CON?
different
No,
cons.
Black Hat is like for rich people to go, and then DEF CON is like for people that don't.
He's absolutely right. The only time I went to Black Hat is someone gave me their badge to go in and get party invites real quick. Went in, grabbed them, got out. Signed them up for a bunch of competitions too.
Yeah,
So
I didn't go. They wouldn't let me in. They said no riffraff and
No riffraff.
Yeah,
it's
I
funny
rated-
because Ralph has presented at Black Hat before, but
yeah, that's also true. But they didn't let me in this year.
they're like, this
Well,
one's
that's how they
so
knew you were
early,
real.
you're never allowed back.
Corey, that was the only way I was able to get in. I had to get on the list, and I couldn't buy a ticket, so I had to present. You get the point.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So I don't know if there was anything that stood out from the Black.
There was a good talk about burnout that I watched.
Oh God.
So you did watch the Burnout.
Yeah, so I
Burnout,
actually got a virtual ticket. I didn't get to go in person, but the
Oh,
burnout
virtual
talk.
ticket. Oh,
Wait,
that's
wait,
like
You're
You're
middle
moderate.
class, not upper class.
You know what?
He's
I
only
actually
moderately
went into the office, put it on the TV, watched this excellent talk about burnout. There was also another. I haven't read this news article. There's another really good one about like misinformation campaigns in South America, which I would highly suggest if it ever appears on the internet in some way. But
Didn't
Yeah,
they
was,
have a misinformation village?
There was something about that.
I think they
it
had
was
one at DEF CON.
That was
misinformation,
actually
not-
a
I think that was
demonstration.
DEF CON.
I don't think they do villages at Black Hat.
it was a
I'm sorry, crosswires.
Are you saying that they're faking that they had a village and that was the point of the disinformation village?
Yeah, yes,
They're like, yeah, we
village.
totally have a village, but it just doesn't exist. And then there's just a big piece of paper that says, "Watch out for disinformation."
That would be good.
No, you
That
gotta
would be
remember,
good.
I live under a rock. I didn't even go to Hacker Summer Camp this year, so it all kind of blurs together when you're feeding it in from 5 different multimedia social media streams. Blackhat,
And that's why we are here.
So what?
Watching Vegas flood.
But at there was
So
the
at
DEF CON, there was a couple other ones. There was also the Zoom one was at DEF CON. So we could talk
Right.
about that article.
There was
there
a
we
Zoom
go.
one. There was a Starlink one.
Yeah, Starlink. So Zoom installer lets a research hack his way into root access to macOS. Okay, so I guess
Mac ponage. There was a lot of Mac ponage.
Don't be surprised in the near future to start seeing a bunch more Mac privilege escalation techniques. And I think that this one was part of that, right? So this was privilege escalation. Yeah, it does say that. So it was a privilege escalation attack on macOS, allowing to bypass some of the controls that Mac has in place to kind of prevent this. They have some other stuff on top of just not being or just being like the root user. So even as root, you can't even read the user files without the right permissions, right? So this is part of that, right? With Zoom, but
So even a couple years after all the COVID Zoom fallout of 2021, they're still getting beat up. Sounds like they had some issues with the disclosure. Like it took them like 7 months to fix somehow.
yeah, I don't know if this one is. I don't know the full details of this vulnerability, but what I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised for us to see more macOS privilege escalation vulnerabilities in other applications, not just Zoom. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
All right. In the start, if we want to, what's a voltage fault injection attack?
So that's Starlink. That's the
Oh, okay,
that's a
my
pivot.
bad. I clicked on the wrong article again. Never mind. Go back to Zoom.
So
That's the
what does
Starlink
this
attack.
mean? I'm not even on the same page.
Wait, what's
That's
the
one way to
event
do a
code for
transition,
Kerberos
Wade.
ticket? No, I'm just kidding.
Let me zoom in real quick for you.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, Zoom has been the whipping boy. They were the whipping boy in 2021. There was tons of public disclosures. There was that one where anyone could join a Zoom room. There
Zoom
was a
bombing.
bunch. Zoom bombing was a thing where they were like, "This isn't really our fault, but you guys got to set meeting passwords now." And now I guess it sounds like they had a really rough year. The fact that this vulnerability disclosure took 6 to 7 months to fix is not a great sign, but maybe it shows the difficulty of like DevOps in a Mac environment. Maybe it's just really hard.
You have no idea. Oh my God. I remember when I was still in the developer world, anytime we had to deal with anything Mac, anything iOS, it was a nightmare. And unfortunately, Apple has this wonderful tendency that they will suddenly decide to change platforms. It's like, no, you're not developing with this anymore. You're developing with this. And you have this hard deadline that you have to meet, or else everything that you've done will suddenly disappear and no longer work on any of our systems.
Yeah, they're really good at that because they did that when the sign in with Apple thing came up, as they started demanding that, if your app is going to be on our store, you have to, by this date, have sign in with Apple. And I don't remember how much time they gave people, but that was, if you're a smaller group and you all of a sudden have to rebuild in this like Apple authentication thing into your app, that's going to put a time crunch on you for sure, because I think they threatened to pull it. And I don't know if they followed through on that, but if they pulled your app because you didn't authenticate with Apple and provide that as an option, that would suck.
I think the moral of the story here is if you're Zoom and someone reports a bug, fix it before DEF CON at least, because this is one of those ones that they disclosed it in December and then it wasn't fixed, or it was partially fixed and it was still vulnerable, and then they were just like, well, I'll just drop it at DEF CON and now it's fixed magically. Isn't that amazing how that works? It's been 3 days and now it's fixed.
This is the time of year where a lot of researchers who had vulnerabilities or they found them over the year, they wait and then they disclose them. They had already disclosed them to the vendor most of the time. They've been patched and they've been waiting to publicly,
They're
as opposed
waiting
to,
for they're waiting for the fire to be like, wait until you can feel the flames of Twitter.
the flames of Twitter.
This is a
Yeah.
reactive security policy is a red flag, right? Classic.
Yeah. There was the other one too with Discord. So all right, this is not Discord specifically, but a researcher found a vulnerability that affect Electron. So that's pretty much every app now. It's just one big web
Electron,
app.
Teams,
Yeah,
a bunch of others.
Slack. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is already patched. So don't worry, it was only vulnerable when you didn't know. So now that you know, everything's okay.
If you're updated.
If you're updated. I never reload the website. When it says you want to update, I'm like, no. You never know what you're gonna get. I'm just kidding.
I see you're a typical user.
I know. I see you've read the EULA.
Yeah, I mean, Electron, JavaScript, all that. It looks like it was a pretty traditional web application attack where like you could inject arbitrary JS and execute it, and JS can be used for all kinds of bad, terrible things. So,
isn't Zoom an Electron app? Since we were just talking about them, I'm like trying to figure this out.
It is not an Electron app.
Oh,
that is a negative Ghost Rider.
Never mind then.
Mm-hmm.
The examples they give in the talk are Discord, Microsoft Teams, Notion, Basecamp, etc.
Yeah,
There's quite a few.
Many apps are ran as Electron apps because they're just a web app with some extra, GWiz features, like I don't know, uploading a file via.
Isn't Bloodhound an Electron app?
Yes, Bloodhound is an Electron app. Yeah, it was vulnerable to this attack too. Good thing. No.
Yeah, that's great for all of our clients that are running
Bloodhound boxes.
Oh wow!
let me go uninstall Bloodhound.
Yeah, I gotta go patch my Bloodhound immediately.
So
I mean, obviously, Hacker Summer Camp, a lot of vulnerabilities probably did get released. Excuse me. That have been researched over the year, at both events. But there was a lot going on. So
I think you should look at the Starlink one. It's a lot more interesting.
Yeah, we could talk about the
Starlink one is interesting.
It's like Modchip's first satellite.
$25 hack, and then
it's a hardware hack, so it's basically impossible to fix, right? Because they'd have to send everyone new devices.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing it's only the user terminal and not the actual satellite. Like
this article should say using $25 Modchip and about $25,000 in research and development time. Like it's not. I'm assuming the person didn't just like buy something on Amazon for $20, plug it into Starlink, and get root access. Right? Like I'm sure it was like oversimplified a little bit.
He went on AliExpress and was like, "Hey, look, a Modchip for Starlink."
He just searched Starlink device hack.
They also didn't add the cost of the Raspberry Pi. Come on, that's another like what?
And those are hard to get.
$50?
Those are like $150 right now, man.
Those are you get scalped on those. Yeah. So does anyone know the details of this attack? I'm not like a hardware hacker personally, but I heard Noah is.
All right, so the Modchip, or I'm not exactly sure how he put it on there, but I remember like the Xbox Modchip days pretty much, right? So you're going to get in line to some data communication, right, on the on the board that is there, right? And in this particular case, he was able to start accessing like more underlying host like the actual features on the I'm assuming it was in the actual antenna, right? But it could have been in the other device, which is the the modem, and they actually control each other, right? But it is pretty much just a Linux device at that point, and then this Modchip allowed him to get further level access, right? Which was pretty much in all the cases that there was a Modchip, that was it, right? It was a hardware bypass, right? So they were kind of getting in line and replacing whatever the chip was to run their own code, or to not have to follow the security that was in place. So, but I think this one just was able to execute code.
So these voltage fault injection, I believe what it does is it like abuses the boot process of devices. So you can temporarily short a device while it's booting up, and that can cause processes to be interrupted, which means that security or other like scripts that are supposed to run to lock things down don't run, and that can lead to you getting access.
Yep. So kind of cool hack. I think Starlink or SpaceX or just Elon, because he communicates directly with customers at this point, or everyone. Anyways, I think they can't. Okay, so they can't patch it entirely because they'd have to replace all of the antennas. Like they can't like permanently put out a fix. But I think they did issue like some software updates to try to like make it less or not as easy. So now it's $50,000 in research and not 25. Sorry.
2 Raspberry Pis.
2 Raspberry Pis. Double the GPUs. No.
What I always find interesting with, especially with anything involving space or cyber, right? Like in warfare, like in domains, right? So you got like air, land, sea, and then space and cyber. Space and cyber fall into this weird like middle ground where they affect all the other ones. Like everything affects everything, but anything that happens in space is really hard to fix. So if there was anything where they could then go into the actual satellite and break stuff, it just doesn't cause problems with like just the SpaceX satellite. It could cause problems with the world. So I think it's always something really interesting to watch anything involving satellites.
Yeah, and that is not the case in this instance. And like Starlink published like kind of a paper that basically it does like give them kudos and say this is an impressive attack, but basically they say they expect attackers with invasive physical access to be able to take malicious actions on behalf of a single Starlink. So they're basically like they assume that rogue client devices are a possibility, and so it's not like catastrophic like it would be if someone's so I figured out how we can jam Starlink, although I'm sure Russia's looking into that right now. But
real hard.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
If anyone's going to be first to that, it'll be them. But I was going to say that, this is the same thing with like the Xbox mod chips, right? Like suddenly you weren't going to be able to start. Now, I agree. We're talking about a network device, right? Like an Xbox really wasn't like, receiving and transmitting radio frequencies. But what he was able to do is the equivalent of like a jailbreak, right? Or
the executor chip, if you want to.
Access to the firmware.
I won't tell. Allegedly, I won't tell you how I know about those.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about.
We don't talk about those anymore. We
don't talk about them. Anyways, kind of cool.
So
I did want to talk.
If anyone's interested in the hacking of satellites, there's a competition or a CTF that they run every year. I think it's partially run by the Air Force called Hackasat. I've participated in previous years, and you basically, it's a lot of like satellite-based hacking challenges, and then I think if the winners or like the top 4 people are actually given the opportunity to work to hack a real actual satellite, a real physical one. So it's kind of a cool little CTF if you're interested in space hacking.
Oh yeah. All right. Do you guys want to talk about the the anonymous poop gifting site that got hacked? Honestly, it doesn't. I don't even know. It doesn't matter what the hack was. It's just funny they got hacked. Because if you got a box of poop, right, and they're like, "Oh, keeping you anonymous," hopefully their database got breached.
I will say this is a good database for just finding the most vindictive people on the internet.
It'll get a lot of people fired, I'm sure, if they sent it to their boss anonymously.
Honestly, I'd rather receive a bag full of poop than like a bag full of glitter, right? Like
cleans up easier.
Yeah.
Cleans up easier. Unless you're getting a present from Mark Rober, because then you're getting the fart spray and the glitter and everything else.
What if it was like a custom delivery service where they lit the bag on fire on your porch, just like that?
That would be a nice touch.
I guess
you can customize the package with a smiley sticker too. It says
so.
Nice.
So, what do you guys think is the name of this company? They really didn't get very clever.
I know what it is, but
yeah, now you can see.
I don't. Poops for you. I don't.
Poops for you. Yeah. Well, if you were coming up with a name, what would you went with?
There was one called poopsenders.org for a while, but I guess this one's Shit Express.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even.
Not-
I mean, I guess the process is simple. 1, choose an animal. 2, give us an address. 3, pick a sticker, and 4, pay with Bitcoin. I think the funniest thing about this for me is that the person who breached it, or at least one of the people on raid forums, is like, I'm in this database because I sent shit to someone.
No, I guess it's like kind of a. I guess this was like almost like more of like a turf war thing that was going on.
Yes.
And
SQL
so,
injection.
yeah. and it was
Fecal injection.
fecal injection. Oh my
No.
god.
No, I can't. Were they using SQL Express or Shit Express?
Oh,
don't-
I thought you actually said fecal injection, not SQL injection. I thought you were going for the poop joke, Corey. My bad.
You could have claimed it instead of what you said.
Fecal,
Fine.
fecal
Oh, no.
Oh,
The Russians got it. They got SpaceX.
No,
They got SpaceX.
Oh no.
No, I'm still getting data dropout. It's just
You should
Yeah.
hack your client.
Yeah.
no.
Raspberry
I have
Pi and 50
trees.
grand worth of research.
I have trees.
No, he already published it.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, trees are a big deal with Starlink.
One pull
That's
request.
fun.
Shit.
So are granite mountains.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
basically, there's 29,000 orders. That's a lot of shit.
okay.
Can you imagine running one of these sites? Like, it starts as a joke, right? You're like, haha, what if, lol, it'd be funny. But then you realize you're sending out 29,000 boxes of poop. You're like, what am I doing? What is my
What
day today?
What have I
kind of-
done with my life? Like, where did
I
you
need
get
to
all
go
this
to-
poop from, too?
Yeah,
Like,
you're like, you're going to the
Exactly what I'm
zoo.
thinking. What-
You're going to the zoo. You're like, do you guys have any elephant poop I can buy? Like,
What kind of
like, how do you? What is the business model? Like, how do you pitch this to investors?
I would say
You would
that
be
I
all
would
over
definitely
it.
charge extra for exotic poop. Like,
We're looking at vertical integration. We're actually going to get some lions and elephants
no,
to have.
Oh,
I think
okay.
the
If
neatest
you
thing
invest
about
in
this.
Are
I
you
think
an
the
angel
neatest thing about this
investor?
whole about this whole hack is the fact that Shit Express came forward with a great thing and just said, "Yeah, we got hacked. Yeah, you guys are screwed. Here's what we're doing about it, and here's how they did it," and just totally let everybody say, "Yeah, we did it. We screwed up. It's our own damn fault. We made a mistake when
I
programming."
mean, something tells me the person running a site to send poop to people doesn't take themselves that seriously.
seriously.
There's no return to sender in this. Like,
Yeah.
you're not
There's
going to
no
put your own
return.
address. It's just your Bitcoin address. You're paying them, right? So as long as you
It says
wash your
Bitcoin
Bitcoin,
or
right?
it
It
says
says credit
Bitcoin
card.
or credit card.
That's why I use those vanilla.
So
just like,
someone else's
come on,
credit
people.
card, a
you
stolen credit card.
Yeah, right.
You really
So
want
one
to
of the-
do BHIS, you could have them like when you send it to someone, you could offer for them to pay you more to reship it back to whoever sent it to you, just like a return.
Oh, dude, that's a great. You need to go
Right
talk
away.
to Shit Express right now.
This is coming towards you. If you want to deter it away from you and send it to the person who sent it to you, send us $25.
Yeah,
A
it's like a
shit
bidding
retort.
I mean, I guess this is a good lesson in OPSEC too, because if
Yeah.
you're using your real email, name, and credit card to send someone poop, you probably don't know about this poop sending site. So, like at that point, you're just going to DIY it, right? Return from.
DIY.
Oh, I thought you meant
mean-
DIY. I thought you meant you send them your own poop. I thought that's what you were doing with that.
At that point, why go across? You could just physically go in person, right? I mean,
You
save
honestly,
yourself-
you want homegrown organic
Yes.
poop, which is,
The poop in
It's
the
gluten
picture
free.
looks like
Only one way
good
to be
poop. All right.
You cut out the supply chain at that point. You're your own supply chain.
Exactly. I think the most shocking thing about this is the most shocking thing is that 29,000 people decided they were willing to spend money to send poop to someone. That just shows you. And I bet you like half of that at least was Twitter arguments, right? It's just internet raging back and forth.
I really want to know though. Like, I want to take this data, sort it, like do like a unique count on it, figure out who got the most of that entire data set.
Oh, okay.
Like, who had the most repeats?
I already have the data. I'll look for your address in there.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah, who has hated the most that just got sent tons of it?
Probably
This
Trump,
person
right?
got
They're all going.
1,200 different individual bags of poop.
It
So-
would
There's
be
an
interesting
animal
to
button
run
on
some
it?
min-max analysis on that.
Right.
Yeah, do some
You can
AI
either choose
searching.
horse or elephant poop.
Yeah.
Those are the two options.
Well, it
I
I
think
think
wasn't
if
there
someone
was
sent me like
more.
some tiger poop or some super cool poop, I'd be like, all right, that's pretty cool. Thanks for the tiger poop.
I think
Never
there-
am I
yeah,
ever
there's-
gonna get tiger poop in my life.
I am surprised we've devoted this much time to this article.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes, I know,
But
Corey.
it's-
The jokes are just plentiful.
The
right?
jokes, they hurt. It just
Yes.
hurts.
And
All
so, but hey, speaking
This-
of turf wars, though, moving on from that turf war. So the Lockbit, Hive, and Blackhat attacked an automotive supplier in a triple ransomware attack. So I think they were all three there ransomwaring them at the same time. So I mean, it pretty much was blood in the water, and they are gonna have to pay 3 times. It's like
That is
triple.
brutal.
triple
And this is why you don't expose RDP to the internet.
What? Is that how they did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exploit a
Firewall
firewall
misconfiguration.
misconfiguration. Using an RDP
Well, wait. It
connection.
doesn't say it was
Okay.
on the internet. It doesn't say it was on the internet. It just says they
Okay.
exploited a firewall misconfiguration to RDP to the DC, which could
What?
be internal.
It's got RDP in it.
It
I'm
could
counting
be.
that. There's a
No, it's not
misconfiguration
RDP.
somewhere.
Here's
So,
the interesting
this
thing when we
guy
say
IRs.
things like misconfiguration. Like, I just want to draw attention to this for a second. So, like, if you put RDP directly to the internet and then you label it as a misconfiguration, is it really a misconfiguration, or did you 100% intentionally
Yeah.
make that firewall rule?
Well, I didn't mean
It does
to
say
get
initial
hacked.
access via RDP. It does
I
say
just
initial
listened.
access via RDP. Yeah.
I just
That's
listened to that Darknet Diaries where the police station had their RDP open to the internet and people were logging into it and it was the domain controller to check their email.
Mhm.
This is the same thing.
Well, it
Same
wasn't
thing.
just the police station though. It was also like the entire like city.
Yeah, it was the
It was, like,
domain
the mayor
controller.
was logging into it to check his email and stuff like that.
Why? There's so many questions I have there that will never be answered. But oh god, like why can't you just check your email like on a website?
I guess it's funny
It's not
because
as
it's
secure.
fun. I feel like we would warn someone like, oh yeah, I'll get breached by like 3 ransomware actors at once. But now it actually could happen. We have evidence and proof that it has happened. That's like, getting all the COVIDs in one weekend. How many variants can you get?
It's like the Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing at each other.
It's like-
at each other.
The
we
aftermath.
could do it. We could do the Spider-Man meme.
The aftermath of this is the files were encrypted 3 times, and sometimes they were encrypted up to 5 times.
I will say, if you encrypt an encrypted file, you can't ask for ransom because you can't decrypt it. So
Yes.
it's whoever's first is the only one that can actually decrypt the file.
Both
What's
groups
the best
kept
part? Like,
finding
you have to, like,
files
sit there as
without
the
the
admin. Let's say you pay these ransoms, right? You have to sit there as the admin and be like, okay, which one went first?
That's what I was thinking. Like,
So who's gonna get paid?
Okay, so
man?
I've unencrypted this file, I think.
Yeah.
Time
They're
for the
like,
next
oh, sorry,
one.
we can't help you. You're gonna have to talk to the other ransomware group. They're
you
Yeah,
get
like,
them all
hey,
on
your
a Zoom
encryptor doesn't
call,
work.
right?
Your
Wow.
will definitely work.
You
on
need
a
a
Zoom
negotiator.
It's
Ransomware
on a Zoom
negotiator.
call. Or,
If you do hire a ransomware negotiator, do they negotiate all 3, or do you have to hire 3 ransomware
No,
negotiators?
you can bring in
Somebody
one
has
dude,
to
bring
put
them
this
all
in
in.
a CTF.
He handles the whole thing.
there's a
right?
bulk discount. There's a bulk
There's a
discount.
bulk discount. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Somebody
Good deal.
has to put this in a CTF. Because if you don't get it in the right order, you're still hosed.
I feel like this is a common CTF where like they give you a file and they tell you, all right, this is like a file, figure it out, and then like you unzip it, and then it's like, oh, it's also encrypted. Then you have to unencrypt it, and then it's unzipped again, and then you encrypt it, and then it's like the files are in the computer right next to this file, and you're like, wow, that's happened to me several times.
So I guess moral of the story is don't expose RDP to the internet, or you'll have 3 ransomware actors encrypting your stuff all together at once. Like some kind
Don't
of terrible.
misconfigure. Don't misconfigure RDP to the
That's what I was
internet.
just saying.
I stand by
Configure.
browsers are evil. RDP is worse. Awful.
You know
Don't
what?
do
Let's
it.
just get rid of all GUIs. Let's just go back to full command line everything.
No.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anything that gives you a direct line into a remote system, you just, I mean, sorry.
We'll keep telling that though.
We'll keep telling
Keep down on that open. Yeah, we need that though, right?
I will. I not to go back to the poop senders thing, but
Oh, here we go.
I
Not
just
this shit
noticed.
again.
So the only the only thing I want to say is I just noticed that the notes that people would send are also in this, and so I'll maybe publish some. I don't tweet, but maybe I'll publish some statistics about the most common words that people would include with a box of poop.
Do we really need that published? Can we just
I'll
like
retweet
extrapolate
those.
the information?
Yeah, no, we need to publish. This is going to be AI.
gonna
This
need
is
a
my
word
break.
cloud
I'm
for that
breaking
one.
into AI. Yeah, word
So
cloud.
I saw this. I saw this one last week, and we don't spend that much time on it. But there is a guy who is who. All right, so there was a guy in Michigan. It looks like he was in rural Michigan, and he started his own ISP because he had such crappy internet in his area, right? And
I
he
love
was
that
actually
story.
My
Yeah,
kind of guy.
he was actually kind of successful. I mean, like he wasn't like doing this to make a ton of money, but he actually got a grant to expand to 50,000 homes.
Yep.
A 2 government grant. There's like $2.6 million to run.
The
fiber
story was
to it.
supposed to be for John.
This is
Yeah.
amazing. This is.
This
well,
isn't the
Ralph
first
and
time this
I.
has happened though either. Like this has happened several times. I actually looked at doing this because like where I'm at, like there's some really bad internet down here, and my parents needed some internet and stuff like that. I've talked with some of the nerd herders that have done similar things for like their own stuff. But yeah, no, like this has been done before a bunch, but it's still super cool when you see it popping up. Like, I mean, it's like you can just do it with like Ubiquity gear. Like you for like less than 10K, you can like get into this.
Just remember, power
and this-
corrupts. All right?
Right.
Don't become the ISP because that's what happened in my hometown.
Right.
The
Don't
dude
become
made
the-
internet, and next thing you know, I downloaded one song too many, and I had a data cap in 2017, and it wasn't a fun time. He was the
That
only internet
person
in
should
the
never
land.
have started an ISP. That's that. You can't start an
he was
ISP
smart.
if you're.
He was smart. He made so much money.
In this case, though, this was all fiber. There was no wireless or anything like that. So he's running
Sure.
fiber to all the houses and stuff. So
That's
it is
I would say that's
sustainable.
harder, right?
It is harder. That's
It
way
is
more
harder,
impressive.
but it's obviously faster. And the other thing about the fiber runs is that you don't have to rerun the fiber to increase the
No.
speed in the future.
And there's a lot of
and
dark
that-
fiber just
well-
already run. There's a lot like a lot of ISPs have collected government money to run fiber and ran the fiber and then never lit it up.
And then never used it.
That's a good Twitter handle, dark fiber.
Dark
Someone-
fiber. I'm
someone
sure
jump
it's
on
Let me go
that.
see if it's
You're gonna
available.
be dark
It's not.
fiber 42, dude,
Yeah.
for sure.
I like how you said, Ralph. Like, you don't have to like run more cable to like get higher speeds, but like just wait. Like, give it 15 years, and we'll figure out how to like put binary data into the speed of light. Like not faster than the speed of light.
Quantum.
Time traveling.
Quantum, yep.
Yep, quantum cables.
Quantum cables.
And
Oh,
you'll
well.
still only be able to download Warzone in 3 hours.
they actually
Because
have
the
that.
game's going to be like 2 petabytes.
Yeah, it's
They
at the
actually-
first install or the second when they update it the next week.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. It's every day.
So it's actually they do have wireless quantum, and it's called it happens with quantum entanglement, right? And I know zero about quantum. I just read a story about like how this is possible, or that they were getting close to this. I think Einstein called it like spooky something at a distance. But anyways, if you entangle two atoms, right, that like they get like entangled, like what you do to one atom will do to the other atom on the other side. And
Right.
the idea is they were able to, all right, in this article, which I'm now gonna have to go find the article.
It's like a Chinese satellite.
They were able to actually do entangle two atoms and send data at like a very short distance. But the theory is that you could send it at that once they're entangled, it doesn't matter how far they are apart, right? And no one knows. No one there's no way. No one knows why they're connected. There's no RF. There's no one knows what that makes that connection to be like the most secure communication ever.
Ralph, you never read Ender's Game.
Yeah.
We can really
So-
tell right now,
So okay, basically, we usually discuss quantum physics on most of these shows. It's a pretty common topic that comes
It is,
up.
yeah, it really comes up.
In
Noah
between,
posted the RFC
concepts of
for it.
nuclear fission and no, like I mean, RFC 1149 is very similar to quantum internet transportation.
Quantum Internet Protocol.
Yeah,
no,
pretty much.
I don't
It's
think it is
basically-
actually.
No, it's pretty much the same.
Well,
I mean, I'm not
either
a
way.
physicist.
Wild
Did you guys
Grayson
hear
is a
that
kid.
Slack was exposing hash passwords for years?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that last week. We should.
Yeah. I thought I'd bring it up.
This
So
brings
I
up
guess-
a good question. I wanted to ask: how often do you guys, as an attack Slack? I think this would be a good topic.
You know what the funny thing is? I would attack it more if I found more indications that a company was using that exclusively. And most people now have just moved to Teams because they're like,
Teams,
why pay
yeah.
for Slack? Which is why Slack is suing Teams ipso facto. Maybe it's a monopoly.
Yeah,
But,
I haven't
yeah.
seen. I have never done a test for a client that used Slack exclusively. A lot of the times people use it, but it is like a back channel, random DevOps team uses it, or like it's. I've never seen anyone using it at scale with like this many users. But so, what was this vulnerability?
They were sending the hash passwords and I think password resets. Yeah. And I guess they were hashed, right? But nobody knew that they were getting them, and this had been going on for a while. Yeah, it was in the password reset link. But yeah, just a slight slip up there. Maybe somebody, but I mean, it would have been hashed. They were hash and salted. But I mean, obviously, you could still try to brute force it, right? So
This is why you put honeypots or honey tokens in Slack. Well, you're not going to see the hash, but that's one thing I do. So
yeah. So I don't know. Whoops. It's like when you change your password and they send you an email, your password has been set to this.
You're like, oh, cool. That's nah,
Cool.
I don't like that.
Cool. Now I know that you actually didn't do anything with my password. It's just a clear text in some database.
No, hold on. It'll take me 20 minutes, but I'll explain how it's secure.
It just takes a minute. But I believe this password reset hash issue with Slack has been remediated.
Oh,
Did
absolutely.
Did we talk about the Twilio?
We should probably
data
talk
breach?
about the Cisco one. Should probably talk about We did talk about the Twilio one, which is ironic because they got SMS phished, and that's the company I always use for SMS phishing other clients. So
we only talked about Twilio after we were down though, because we didn't talk about it on stream.
Well, let's
Are
talk
you
about
sure?
Cisco first.
yeah,
I
talk
like
about
that.
Cisco.
Yeah,
That's
about
the
what
big
we
boy.
didn't
After
talk
the
about.
broadcast ended is when we saw the Twilio link.
The ironic thing about the Cisco one is that the best, as Wade showed us, the best write up on this is by Talos.
So Cisco knows a thing about what happened to Cisco.
Cisco shares information about what happened to Cisco. Yeah,
So what happened, Corey? What do you know the Cisco?
I don't.
What
I'm
was
sure
it?
Wade does. He's a smart guy.
Wade has got it.
Man, I read it like when it came out on May 24th, 2020.
Voice phishing.
Oh, he's gonna
Well,
start
okay,
from
so
the
it
top,
says-
guys.
it-
Hold on.
No,
It
so
says voice
they
phishing.
they came in through a user's computer, and he had cached creds in his Chrome, and then used his cache creds, got through a VPN'd in, had him click the OK in the MFA, or
Well,
either
he
had
put-
him click
yeah,
OK.
he vished. They had
And
to
then-
convince
They-
the employee to
Yeah.
accept.
They
One
kept sending him MFA tokens and requests until he got so tired of it all that he just clicked. He got tired of getting
they said
all of them.
no. They called him. It says it's conducted a series of sophisticated voice phishing attacks under the guise of various trusted organizations attempting to convince the victim to accept MFA push notifications. Ultimately succeeded, granting access to the VPN.
One thing I thought that was pretty interesting is they talked about how long they were in the network. They were in there for a while, but they knew that they were in there for a while, but they also were watching them in the network for quite some time. And I think it was more of just to track the attackers to really see what they were doing. But for me, it almost felt like an underlining tone that they were trying to really figure out who was doing this. There's more of
Attribution, right?
Exactly, right? And they're probably
So-
already talking to law enforcement. And my first thought is like, Cisco knows how to network, right? So hopefully they did sometime. I would believe that if anyone could do it, it should have been them, but who knows, really? I
You think they're
will
using
admit
ASAs
this.
for remote access? Just kidding.
No, RDP. No.
RDP.
No, they open the RDP through the ASA. Come on.
Okay, so it's only right, so it's secure. But I mean, I think the thing here, like this reads like totally like a red team, but it is interesting in the blog post that they attribute it, well, partially attribute it, right? In the actual disclosure, it says we have medium. What does it say? It says we have medium to high confidence that this is related to initial access brokers and possibly Lapsus group or whatever. So it's like if a company is going to attribute it in the vulnerability disclosure, that's pretty insane. Like that, they must have had pretty high confidence because that could come back on them if it was wrong.
Yeah, so either they know or they just took a wild guess based on some stuff they saw.
Yeah.
or based on who was cool at the time.
Yeah, whoever was in the news the most that week.
Well, so
If you
they call it
don't know-
Lapsus, which is not really cool anymore, right? That's like everyone. I thought that was all people got arrested. Or
Well, it takes a while to go through edits and everything, so the like at the time they check it like, oh, so and so got hacked by Lapsus. Yeah, we did too. And then like 2 weeks later the report comes out.
Fun.
Never mind.
I want-
Y'all don't get my jokes.
We don't work in the SOC. Is that a SOC joke?
Is that for SOC people only?
I don't know.
I was reading.
I'm gonna pretend like it
Missed
is because it works.
We'll edit it out in post.
There
Yeah.
you go. The editors
Yeah,
will
we
take care
were.
of it.
What editor approved that line, Noah?
So
I do like your call how this report does read a lot like a red team report, right? And for any blue teamers out there, I would highly suggest reading this just because it has a wealth of information just on attacks and command line, and of course they map everything to MITRE, right? They hit all the buttons.
Yeah, I literally did this exact same attack. I mean, I didn't compromise their personal device, but I had their password and had to call them and convince them that, we had to resync their device. We have to make sure they're secure because it's time-based. So, you got to approve this push and then everything will be synced right up. No problem. It's a very common technique we use on red teams.
didn't they get the database, or so weren't they alleging to have stolen like 2.8 gigabytes? Was that part of this?
Yeah.
So that's kind of their thing, right? They always claim they've done stuff. They're like, yeah, we got access to Microsoft and Okta. And you're like, okay, no, like kind of like good screenshot editing, but no. So who knows what they actually got, I guess is what I'm getting at.
They did get access to a domain controller, which to me is you're done, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
kind of.
It depends, yeah.
I mean, when
usually
you
where
say
it
access,
starts
you mean
for
like
me.
you could ping it?
no, they attempted to dump
Oh, okay.
and
Like
NTDS.
NTDS.
Yeah,
So how'd they get DA then? Probably ADCS.
I should have just read this whole report before.
Yeah. Look, it's ADCS. That's what I thought. No, I don't know. Well,
It has a lot of details. It's a good read. Also, I will say, like, as much as we might be joking about Cisco still using ASAs, the write up, it's good that they kind of owned it and said, yeah, we got a little wrecked, but here are the details, of us getting wrecked. So.
Well, and if these are known acting groups, if their attribution is even sort of correct, you now actually have, if you're on blue team, different ways of writing up detections through your Splunk or Defender or whatever you're using for detecting on the endpoints as to what's going to happen. If you've got something like Defender on the DC, you could go ahead and see somebody accessing PowerShell and then using that to go ahead and use NTDS util, and then using that to go ahead and do the rest of the command structure or portions of the command structure and actually give you a little bit of a heads up as to what's going on and detect somebody a little bit more frequently.
If Lapis is in your threat model, now you got some good detections at least.
Lapsus and
Don't. I won't. I won't
Wang.
say that with John around, to tell you the truth, but I'll say it with him not here.
I will say, dude, all these net commands should be very easily detectable by any EDR.
Oh yeah.
Like,
So,
we never
are
use
you-
net commands
Are
like this
you
anymore.
saying that they didn't have EDR?
Does Cisco have an EDR? Like, did they sell one?
Yeah, Cisco AMP. I thought that
Yep.
was their EDR. Yeah,
So I think I know some bypasses for Cisco AMP if anyone needs them.
Oh no, they just added those in, dude. Those are fresh. To
They
death.
just added them in. They added in net commands.
Yeah, man, they had to step their game up a little bit after that, you know.
Part of me thinks like how far, like if they would have detected them earlier, right? And how far did they let them go to really try to figure who this was, and did they just let them? Because it talks about when they first detected them,
Yeah.
but I would almost think like we're making fun of it all, but I think they tracked them pretty well, knowing that they're gonna have to burn the house down after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, once they're hitting NTDS, you're like, guys, this is every
Yeah.
account.
So the other one that we didn't talk about, so that was the Cisco, but the Twilio breach, right?
Yeah.
And you were talking about, Corey, that we use this on engagements to send fishes because they have
So
a
it's
whole
like a
fish-
VoIP. For those that don't know what Twilio
Yeah.
or Twilio or however you say it, Twilio is. It is a VoIP / SMS provider where anyone can go and request. Like, it's designed for programmatic phone communications and things and
Yeah,
email. I think
telephony is the word.
they bought SendGrid, right?
Yeah.
So basically, it's designed for like programmatic. Like the people that send you 2-factor codes. That's probably Twilio.
Yes.
Or Twilio. Like when you get a thing that says Microsoft Authenticator, they're probably using Twilio on the back end to actually send those text messages. And they were breached, ironically, from a text message SMS phishing campaign. And the reason I say ironically is because we, or at least me personally, I've been using their service for years to send SMS phishing campaigns. So it's just kind of ironic that they got breached by the same way that I use them. It's almost like if Cobalt Strike got breached and they used Cobalt Strike to establish C2 in their environment. It's like, come on, guys, you made this.
So do we
there's some
think it's like
screenshots. Go ahead.
a part of a more sophisticated attack for like vishing or leveraging for smishing or whatever you want to call it from an SMS perspective? What was the goal of owning Twilio?
Well,
So,
as
that's a good
Signal Signal said today that 1,900 of users' phone numbers on Signal were exposed by this hack. So that gives you at least a small idea of what they could have gained access to.
Huh.
Yeah, and I mean, if they were able to like take over more trusted numbers, they could send text messages to even compromise more organizations.
Yeah. And they updated the blog post on August 10th, and they said identified approximately 125 customers whose data was accessed. So it looks like the people that got in were going after specific customers of theirs, which makes it feel more sinister that they were going after specific people. It could just be like, oh, clicking through here. But I'm assuming it's like you said, they're trying to actually look at individual accounts and maybe use it to, send text messages or get auth. Like if you get like the auth key for like the webhook for sending text messages from Microsoft or something, like that could be very bad.
Yeah.
Or emails too. There's a lot of phishing vectors too. So
Yeah, I mean, it makes you think like, were they going after persistence somewhere else, like, and using this to gain persistence, and then what did they gain? And,
right.
how do you remediate?
Yeah. I mean,
they were also.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say there was also a Hacker News article, and so I guess Cloudflare was getting what do you call it? The same text messages.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and Cloudflare was able to block the attack.
So, what do you mean, block the text messages?
Yeah, now I'm remembering the Cloudflare, like they tried to attack Cloudflare, and Cloudflare was able to like deny them access through some. It almost sounded like an ad through some other 2-factor roadblock. So right there.
Yeah, so this
I mean,
here says that Cloudflare was targeted in a similar attack, but
Yes.
it didn't get compromised because they had hardware security keys.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, so they had like similar messages. They were also getting attacked around the same time. So
Yeah.
So
They were
yeah,
just-
I mean,
they
I
were
think
attacking all
Or-
Yeah. I hate SMS. I like hardware.
Yeah,
so much.
yeah.
And there's
So
like
okay, so that really brings up the bigger thing, right? SMS is not a good two-factor platform, right? This is there.
Well,
there's
we-
still banks
SMS
out
is not
there
a valid platform for anything other than hey, love you, talk to you tomorrow. Like,
So this goes back to a
no
really
secure
good
information.
one of the Blackhat talks was about SMS and about like phishing via SMS, and it was like a huge like 64U server that all it was cell phones that they used for SMS attacks, and you could buy it on AliExpress for like a couple grand. So, but like there's still a good amount of banks out there that don't even offer 2FA through token. They just have to do everything through SMS.
Yeah.
And as someone who I just recently changed my phone, and I will admit I got a bunch of alerts the moment I switched SMS cards and moved over to a new phone, but still like it scares me a lot knowing how easy it is.
When things like this happen, though, I often think about like a red herring or like what else is going on, right? Like, is there something bigger, not to cause fear or FUD, but what else? What's the reasoning behind this? Do we really know?
I feel like if to speculate, let's just wildly speculate as we do on this show. I would guess that it's just because it's a pain point, right? MFA is a pain point because keep in mind, like real world attacks, they always lag behind like theoretical possibilities, right? There are companies out there that are using hardware two-factor. There are companies out there that are 100% rolled out with EDR and hardware. But there's also a lot of companies that don't have two-factor at all. And I feel like attackers are now hitting this more and more, where more people have Okta and Duo and Microsoft Authenticator and more of these tools that are just getting rolled out. And so they're like, this is annoying and it's becoming a stumbling block for us. We need to target the providers, like the classic MSP type attack where you're like, who is everyone using for two-factor auth? We go after the providers, then maybe that's an easy win. To be able to, like, anyone that's using SMS auth, now we can get in. Just intercept the messages or send them spurious messages. Or either that, or the other theory I have is it could be like the intent to just do mass social engineering attacks from this provider. So sending the thousands or millions of text messages can be cost prohibitive, or just you might get blocked or whatever. But if you have access to the provider, it all looks legit. It's all like it comes from the real provider. That you could leverage their infrastructure to send your phishing campaign. So it could be that too. Those are my two rampant speculations.
If they did get access to it, right, they could theoretically get that Twilio access code, right? And then all they just need is your password. Is that the level of thinking that's what I thought? If they're access to Twilio, they could somehow, which I don't know because I don't know the back end of this, have that access token. And then all you need is a password cracker and get in, which then makes me think this is more of like a supply chain attack where they're going for the MFA because then that just eliminates the MFA problem, like you were saying.
That's what I would
guess.
gain
access. Okay, and then gain access.
And I don't know.
Because it's not a problem.
I would guess the attack would be, say you're a company like Duo that's using Twilio for SMS two-factor. So basically, anytime any of your customers gets a two-factor notification, it's sent through, the code is sent through Twilio. There's a world in which that data is logged somehow. It seems like a misconfiguration or something, or maybe you can like maliciously inject some middleman or something. I'm not sure how the Twilio backend works, but if that message was logged, then you could just steal the messages over the wire. So I don't know. I would assume that the security, or I would hope that the security model at Twilio doesn't let you log. But if you think about it, their platform isn't designed for credential exchange. That's not where their threat model is going to be designed. It's going to be designed around sending text messages like, "Can I buy your house for $5?" Like it could be anything.
The worst.
So
SMS isn't encrypted or anything, too, right? Like it's
not.
It's like horrible security.
You look at the gang in that article, and it talks about going after Cloudflare. Things like GitHub are using SMS notifications. They use Twilio. Mm-hmm. So was this something about trying to get a hold of some GitHubs? We had the GitHub issue a few few days earlier, right? With all of the fake commits that were happening.
Yes.
Maybe there's something else that's going on here.
Yeah, like I wonder
Yeah.
if they got into both Cloudflare and Twilio, like what they could have done with that, because then you have the MFA and then you potentially have some of the back end as well. So I wonder what you could do with both of those combined. Probably a lot.
I feel like if there's one thing I'm willing to speculate about APTs or threat actors, it's that they basically just throw it at the wall and see if it sticks, right? So, even if the larger goal is X, Y, or Z, they all know that it's not like they're executing some, Operation Desert Storm type of deal. I think it's really just like, so we can bypass 2FA now. Like, and then they, that they can sell that to other people and say, oh, you need an account with, you need access two-factor protected account. Give me $100 and I'll do it for you. Or
Bypass
they can,
2FA as a service.
Right, bypass 2FA as a service, or just
initial
get into
access broker.
Exactly,
Yeah,
initial
that makes
access.
sense.
We know that people will pay for that. Also, like just getting access. They could ransomware Twilio's customer database. Like it's kind of like, sure, what can't we do, right? But it is fun to think about and scary.
Yeah. Well, shoot. I think that was all the articles. Does anyone else have any other articles for today, or anything else that we
Well, we're
didn't
at
talk about?
exactly an hour or so.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it was discussed, but Ralph, your course was awesome. I know it's on an article, but at Blackhat and DEFCON, you're
Yeah, that's why my voice is hoarse. It sounds like I have like
Talk for
extreme
hours.
COVID because I talked for hours. Thanks.
Yeah, it was a good time.
But
Wait, Ralph's
so,
a real person?
what?
I thought Ralph was just an actor, and then we just put him away.
Ralph, you passed the Turing test. Congrats.
Oh gosh,
We don't have to turn
so
him off. now.
excited. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks everybody for showing up. Thanks everybody for listening to us rant about poop and other things that Corey can't stop talking about.
I will publish the word cloud of the most common phrases from the poop senders database.
This needs to happen. This needs to happen.
And who
I
was
will.
targeted
I'm-
the most?
Yeah.
And who was targeted the most?
So,
Corey's
and-
taking on the crap job. Got it.
so smash that like button, subscribe, whatever platform you're coming from. So
hack
next
the
time you
YouTube
can hear us
algorithm.
all.
Who is this episode sponsored by? RalphNet, the new ISP
RalphNet.
where you can't get internet?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
We didn't have any sponsors today, but thanks everybody for showing up.
No, it's
and,
always sponsored by Antisyphon Infosec Training.
Yes,
Always.
there you're right.
Always.
Always. John pays the bills. So, yeah, no, check out our training. Check out our training. It's good. It is good because
Yeah.
one of my classes is on there, so that makes.
And
it
then
extra good.
smash the like button right on Ralph's
And then
face.
smash the like
Subscribe,
button.
notifications.
All right,
Sub,
I'm really
Prime
dragging. I'm
subs.
really dragging this out. Just hit the
Prime
button.
subs.
We're gonna
Hit the
never
prime
end.
subs.
Thanks,
Special
everybody.
emojis.
Foot long subs.
Bye.